In May 2021, James from the channel Junkyard Fox returned to a familiar spot in the remote West Texas desert, a place he had camped many times before. The plan was simple: revisit his primitive hand-built shelter, cook by the fire, and enjoy a quiet night beneath the stars. But what started as a peaceful trip turned into one of the most disturbing nights he'd ever captured on camera.
Because I'm going to be spending the night in my primitive shelter. So for those of you who are not caught up, a couple months back, I want to say about 2 months ago, possibly 3 months ago, I filmed a video where I made a primitive shelter solely out of desert materials like yucca stalks, creosote, rocks, dead grass, so on and so forth. And I'm very proud of that video. I'm very proud of that shelter. It is probably my favorite video of 2020.
As evening approached, James worked on reinforcing his shelter. The winds howled and storm clouds rolled in, but eventually the weather passed without issue. He cooked some ramen, settled in, and prepared to rest. Then, just after midnight, chaos. James was jolted awake by the sound of a truck approaching, music blaring into the darkness. Within moments, gunshots echoed across the desert. Someone had opened fire on his vehicle. The windows of his truck were shattered, the glass blown out by bullets. He stumbled out of his shelter, heart pounding, trying to comprehend what had just happened.
Okay, folks, so change of plans. I was asleep for 2 hours. Then I woke up to a truck driving nearby, and they shot my truck. They legitimately shot the windows on my truck. People I don't know. This is crazy. Once again, I have no clue who these people are. They're just drunks. I could hear loud music. That's what woke me up. And sure enough.
It wasn't a random pop in the distance. It was deliberate. And it happened right where he slept. Shaken, James grabbed his things and fled. He later filed a report with the local police, but without a description or plate, there wasn't much to go on. Whoever pulled the trigger vanished into the night, and to this day, their identity and motive remain unknown. Many were stunned, calling it one of the scariest real-world moments they'd ever seen. One said it made them fear for every nomad who sleeps out in the wild. In January 2021, Arnold and his friend ventured deep into Oregon's snow-covered backwoods for what was supposed to be a quiet winter camping trip. With years of outdoor experience between them, they were confident, calm, and prepared. But even the most seasoned explorers can't prepare for everything.
Could be worse. Yep. More chilly than what we're usually up in.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
This is freaking beautiful out here, though.
After hours of driving through the frozen landscape, they found what seemed like the perfect spot. Fresh snow, no tracks, total silence. They set up camp, lit a fire, and began to settle in. But as night crept in, so did something else. The first sound was subtle, crunching snow, maybe a vehicle on gravel. Then came a sharp, unmistakable noise. Gunfire. At first it echoed from a distance. Then it moved closer. Much closer.
Very well.
You can't see very well.
But you can spot critters and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
Too creepy for me, man. And they were splitting up and heading down towards us. So nope, we're out of here. We'll find somewhere else. So.
Yeah, they were spreading out and heading towards us.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
pretty freaky. So,
All right. So much for that spot. We'll
More shots rang out. Voices followed. But they weren't friendly hikers passing by. The tone was off. Hostile. Menacing. Someone out there knew they weren't alone, and they didn't care.
There's lots of people out here.
definitely a good shot.
Close. Really close.
The campers whispered back and forth, tension building as they tried to make sense of the situation. One voice in the distance seemed to call out directions. Another responded with, "Right there." They were pointing toward the fire, toward them. Panicked, but trying to stay calm, they extinguished every light except one dim tent lamp. Then even that was snuffed out. They sat in the dark, clutching their weapons, listening to bullets crackle through the trees.
They're right fucking there, dude. They're like driving around shooting. They laying around all morning, not a problem. And then I look outside, decide it looks nice, and I was like, oh, it's probably about time to get up. Crawl up to look at my tablet, see what time it is, and turn and look out the window, and off goes the pop-up. That flew all the way over to where our steps are.
Eventually, the chaos stopped. Whoever it was, they left as quickly as they'd come. But the fear didn't leave with them. The two campers spent the rest of the night wide-eyed, still, alert, knowing how close they'd come to real danger. In September 2020, Vicky and her friend set out for a peaceful wild camp in the remote Welsh mountains. With their dogs in tow, they parked near a familiar trail one others had used before and began a scenic hike to a quiet lakeside spot.
And that little busy area. And yeah, so hopefully think I've been quite clever in where we've parked and how we found it. And I'm thinking we're going to be fairly... So I've got the tent up. One of my little things won't tighten at the bottom, so it's a little bit gappy.
The plan was simple. Pitch the tent, enjoy the solitude, and leave no trace behind. The weather held, the dogs roamed happily, and everything felt perfect. But what started as a serene getaway ended in a moment of pure shock.
So much. Good morning from our little lakeside home.
After a rainy morning and a final sweep to clean up their site, they hiked back to where they'd left their car. That's when they saw it. All 4 tires slashed. The windscreen shattered. A rock lay in the front seat, still wet from the rain. They stood there in stunned silence. Nothing had been stolen. Not a single item touched. This wasn't theft. It was a message.
So coming back from the car, from my camp, I have 4 flat tires and a smashed windscreen and a smashed window, complete with rock inside.
Poor car. Are you still on hold, babe?
Yeah. I've been on the phone.
Nearby, faint tire marks on the concrete suggested someone had rolled in on a quad bike. Vicky believed it may have been a local farmer, the same one they saw at sunset the night before, releasing sheep near the lake. Whatever the reason, the result was the same. The car was totaled. After nearly an hour on hold, her insurance confirmed the damage was too extensive. It would be scrapped.
And it's looking like it's going to be bye-bye to the car. It's going to have to get scrapped and I'm going to have to make a claim, but it's not going to be repairable apparently because of the damage, so it's probably going to be bye-bye car. So
Locals in the comment section were furious. One even apologized on behalf of the area. Another pointed out how senseless the attack was, saying everything damaged was easily replaceable. And yet the car still got written off. Many agreed on one thing. The scariest part of nature isn't always the wilderness. It's the people who think they own it. In early 2023, wild camper Leslie Mansfield set out for what should have been a peaceful solo night in the woods. With her tent packed, flashlight in hand, and a well-loved routine of off-grid camping behind her, she parked at the edge of a dense woodland trail and slipped into the trees.
I'm warm as toast. I think it goes down to -100 degrees or something like that. Okay, what I'll do, I'm not supposed to be on here, so I'll bring you back when I am.
The location was remote, quiet, still, perfect. After scouting the area and navigating through overgrown paths, she found it, a ridge overlooking the valley, hidden just enough from view. She pitched her tent as the last light of sunset faded into the canopy. Then, with the stars overhead and the soft sounds of the forest around her, she prepared for the night ahead.
Oh, just there. To me it looks all out of focus. Let me turn this torch off. Right.
That's when she noticed it, a small light, bobbing. Distant at first, but clearly someone else was nearby. She turned off her torch, hoping they would pass. But they didn't. The figure reappeared, closer, this time walking directly toward her camp. Leslie crouched in silence. Her breath caught in her chest as the beam of the stranger's flashlight cut through the trees, swinging, pausing, sweeping her direction.
I don't know if you can see that, but there's somebody walking down the bottom of the valley there with a torch. I'm sure they're fine and innocent, but I've turned on my lights.
She grabbed her gear and moved. Quietly, calmly. 10 minutes down the trail, she found another spot and tucked herself away, hoping whoever it was hadn't followed. Even after food and a glass of wine, the tension didn't break. That unsettling feeling clung to her. Finally, she made the call. She packed everything up and returned to her car by sunrise.
These are yew trees. They're forever. If they ever get a disease, I'm going to be so gutted. They're beautiful, these yew. Camera's gone off again. Oh well, good to know me.
Many praised her instincts, with one viewer saying she handled the situation perfectly, choosing awareness over fear. Others admitted they'd have done the same, spooked but smart. The flashlight in the woods? Maybe innocent, maybe not. Either way, she made the right call. In mid-2023, the Bell explorers returned to the infamous Screaming Woods in Pluckley, often dubbed the most haunted forest in the UK. This wasn't their first trip. They'd been here twice before and each time left with stories of eerie sounds and shadowy figures. But this night would be different, much worse.
We're ready to go again, so let's get into it. Alright guys, we're at the Screaming Woods again. Third time lucky. There's the sign, guys, if you want to have a good read up.
Armed with torches, cameras, and cautious excitement, they entered the woods under a still, unsettling night sky. The air was dead silent. No wind, no rustling, just thick darkness. They set up camp in a new area, hoping to stir fresh activity. Not long in, they were attacked, not by spirits, but by a swarm of giant wasps. Screaming and swatting, they fled the spot, stumbling through the undergrowth, until they found a new clearing.
If we don't get any encounters down here, we'll go back to the old position, see if we can pick up any more, but we'll go from there, I think. But it's quite a... I'm hoping we can actually get you a good bit of footage for you guys to actually see something, because we've had success both times here, but we've been too scared to actually film it.
But the buzzing wasn't the worst thing they'd run into. Something appeared as they filmed their surroundings, watching them from between the trees. A pale, motionless face. A mask. Half seen but impossible to ignore. Panic surged. They froze, then bolted.
No, I can't see. Shit, Joe, what's that? Fuck off! Shit! Hang on, just stop. Stop, yeah, no, we can't run. Shit! Did you see that, Joe?
Still shaken but determined, they returned to the spot moments later. Nothing. Whatever it was, gone. That should have been it. But on the walk back to their car, the masked figure returned, this time behind them. Flashlight beams cut through the forest, illuminating nothing but trees and panic. One explorer tripped in the scramble, heart racing, flashlight shaking. And just like that, the masked figure vanished again.
Go back, guys, we've got to go back. We are absolutely shitting ourselves, but we have to go back. Excuse my language. We've got to go back. Just be careful, Joe. We're getting attacked by bugs and everything. Oh, not again. They are the least of our worries, though.
This time they didn't go back. One new subscriber praised their bravery, saying the whole thing was bloody creepy. Others joked nervously, comparing the figure to a vampire in the woods. But beneath the humor was real fear. Many admitted they wouldn't have stayed another second. And honestly, who could blame them? In late 2023, the YouTube creator behind 401 Files returned to Dalby Forest, a vast and isolated woodland on Britain's east coast, infamous for all things paranormal, dogman sightings, UFOs, mutilated animals, and stories even darker than most dare repeat.
Frequent in this area, this national park, year in, year out, and many different stories of high strangeness coming from this area, like I said in the beginning. It's always fascinated me why national parks, but it makes sense when you think.
It wasn't his first time here, but he planned to stay the whole night this time. With only his camera, a small fire, and his loyal dog Lily, he hiked deeper into the forest, looking for a place to camp. As dusk settled, the shadows lengthened and the silence grew heavier. The deeper they went, the harder it became to separate normal forest sounds from something off. Eventually, he set up camp and tried to settle in for the night. That's when he noticed them. 2 glowing white lights in the distance. They weren't street lamps. They weren't headlights. They flickered, then pulsed. Too low to be stars and too erratic to be man-made. The lights didn't move, but they didn't stay still either. One would brighten while the other dimmed, their glow shifting subtly in hue, from white to blue, and even green.
There's some lights over there in the distance. I'm not sure what that is. My initial thought was that's Lily, obviously.
He tried to zoom in. Nothing. No shape. No pole. No origin point. Just 2 unexplainable floating lights. He debated hiking closer but chose not to, trusting his gut that whatever they were, it was better to stay put.
On and off, and one of them just got really bright, so I have no idea what that is. Try and zoom in.
The rest of the night passed without incident, but the strangeness lingered, and so did the questions. Some thought the lights were paranormal, others guessed drones or swamp gas, but many just called it spooky and unsettling.